So welcome everybody. Let me just share my screen to show you today's agenda. We can start the relevant session. I hope everyone can see my screen. So thank you for joining us in open call, the first open call specific webinar hosted by NEMO project. This is an opportunity to present to any interested potential applicant for the first open call of NEMO project. The main project characteristics, let's say, and also, of course, the topic of the first open call and associated procedure. So initially, we will begin with a project presentation made by Terpsi Velivasaki. Then I will present the topic and the procedure on 1:25 approximately, and afterwards we will have a session, let's say, for questions and answers in order to be a little bit more specific, let's say, on your needs and to answer any potential questions on the topic. So let's start. Once again, welcome to the meeting. This is we'll discuss about the first topic of the NEMO project, and this is the topic of the call. So the first topic of the call concerns the NEMO extension, let's say, or we'll aim to extend actually NEMO scope and NEMO technology. For that reason, we invite SMEs that are active in edge computing, in general, cloud-native software development and operating systems, IoT and 5G networks, and IoT manufacturing. So these SMEs are relevant to the project, and we invite these SMEs to participate in the first open call. And in total, six applicants, 6 proposals will be granted to be part of the NEMO project for the next 28 months. And for each project, the total funding is up to 150,000 euros. So in general, what we plan to have during in this first open call, let's say, is to extend the NEMO meta architecture by providing software components and IoT devices, as you see below, that they fall into the categories of network, of resource metering, of automated control components, and in general services that extend the scope and the technology and the meta architecture of the NEMO meta operating system. So additional details, the number of applicants, the number of open calls in total in the project will be 2. This is the first one that extends the system, and then we'll have a follow-up open call in the beginning of 2024 that concerns some services that will be used to validate, let's say, the extended NEMO operating system, meta operating system. And the time window for submitting your proposal is already open, has started at the beginning of September 2023, and will last until the end of November, that is 13th of November. Quite importantly, these extensions, let's say, either services or systems, will be validated through the NEMO use cases realized in various living labs, as we call them. So we have living labs that concern the smart farming and the precision agriculture, the smart energy and the smart mobility, the smart manufacturing and Industry 4.0, smart media and XR. And more details on this pilot use cases will be given on the project presentation. So bear with us for this part. It's quite important, although conceptually the extension provided, either porting in IoT system, in IoT devices, the NEMO framework, or providing extensions on the architecture of NEMO, is quite broad, let's say, scope. Of course, it should be aligned with NEMO architecture, but it's quite a broad area, let's say, for contributions. You have to have in mind that your solution, your provided application, should be aligned also to one of the pilots here in order to be validated and be part of a particular pilot use case. So this is also quite important to have in mind. The architecture of the NEMO, as you see below, can be separated in horizontal layers, starting from the service management layer to the kernel and then to the infrastructure, and on vertical layers that that provide information, let's say, in all of these horizontal layers. More information on that we'll have on the next presentation, but this is just an introduction. And some information on the evaluation process and on the timeline of the project. If you can see here, the call has been announced on the August 2023, and the submission time window will last from September 1st until the end of November, which is where currently we stand on. Then, from December until mid-February, let's say, we'll evaluate the proposals and select the 6 projects that will join us. And we'll have the second half of February to finalize the sub-projects contracts. So this is also the process. And then the projects will start their implementation activities on the 1st of March, and this will last until the 31st, the end of August 2025, I'm sorry. That is also the same date that the project itself ends. So for the duration, for the next duration of the NEMO project, will be part, the Open Call 1 participants will be part of the NEMO project. Okay. So this is some information on the phases and on the operating, let's say, procedure of the projects that will join us for the first open call. So as we said before, the total duration is 18 months, and the phases of the first open call are 3 and are separated in design, development, and validation phase. During the design phase will last the first 3 months of the project. So all the applicants should provide, let's say, should fine-tune their application concept. Will provide in a detailed deliverable a potential mock-up or a prototype of their suggested solution, and also some associated business information. And it's worth mentioning that the associated funding is 30% of this 150,000 euros per project. And this will be funded after a successful completion of this phase and the relevant review that will take place. Then we'll have the development phase. This will last for 10 months, and it's separated in 2 sort of sub-phases. So here it is the phase that the main development of the project will take place. And so here we plan, apart for the particular project implementation, the applicants should participate in integration testing activities if needed. And here they have the opportunity to develop the proposed software tools and provide this so-called MVP, that is the minimum viable product, and start validating it. Worth mentioning that all the outcomes of these technical outcomes of the projects participating in the first open call, and also this will stand for the second open call as well, is to be provided as open source. So this is a quite additional obligation that the potential applicants should have in mind. After the end of this phase, the funding that will be provided in 2 steps is 50% of this 150,000. So in total will be 75,000 euros, and it will reach up to 80% in lump sum of the total funding per project. At the end, the last phase will last for 5 months, and the main focus of this phase is to validate the application, the project, and the implemented components. So extensive testing and validation in NEMO pilots will take place, and you can participate in several meetings, also disseminating and promoting the implemented idea. So of course, one other, let's say, objective of the first open call is to support the second round open calls of NEMO project. So these services that we will be suggested and funded by the NEMO projects during the second open call of the project could be also facilitated in terms of testing and validation by the projects that participate in the first open call. So this is something that you have to have in mind while you will participate in the NEMO project. And of course, the compensation will allow us to reach up to 100% as a lump sum of the total funding that will be provided to the projects. So far, this is the open call material, associated material that we have prepared. It is published in our website. I will give you the relevant URLs at the end. It's the meta-os.eu in our website. So this information, this documents in a set of annexes are already uploaded in the repository for you to visit in our relevant page in the website that is about the open calls. And here we have information about the topic of the open call, some guidelines for the applicants for preparing the application, and some additional information on the project technical details and on the evaluation process, etc. It's also, we provide this supplement template that will be used for forming your application. Some information about the honor declaration that we have also to prepare while applying for the first open call. The relevant forms for SME financial stability declaration, bank account information templates, and a set of frequently asked questions and answers. So this is quite important for you to have a thorough look on these documents available in the website, which will help you to, on one hand, answer some questions and get more insights about the project itself and on the procedures that you have to follow in order to form a successful application. And there is also the associated documentation that is needed and will be used by you once you will prepare the application through F6S platform. The relevant, as you can see here on the third bullet, let's say, the applications will be supported by the F6S platform, and this is our page here. I have the links in the following slide. Through the site, you can, of course, apply and start your application gathering the material needed. It is on the F6S platform, and our page is the NEMO first open call. In this platform, it is the official also page for applying, for asking questions and receiving answers on the ones that are not already answered in this Q&A, let's say, documentation that we have uploaded in the repository. So it is a blog-based, let's say, discussion page where any of you can ask questions, and the answers could benefit also other users. So we prefer to have this page to support any questions or additional information that you might need. As an alternative, but this is not a binary for us, you can use this email at the bottom part of the project that basically will give you instructions on how to access the F6S platform. So your question could benefit the rest of the users as well. Additional technical information is also available. So we have the information on the open call topic per se in the website. You can see here on the second link. The information of the project in general, you can see, of course, in our website. And some technical information, which is also quite important for you to read as you form your application, is under the results, let's say, page of our website, where here you can find applications and deliverable information. Most importantly, the main, let's say, document, also there will be an additional one or two technical deliverables as they are submitted. But the main document that you have to read and be aware of the technologies and the components and the details of the interactions within the NEMO project, so that you can be aware of what technologies we will bring natively in NEMO, so that you can propose extensions, is deliverable 2.1. That concerns the NEMO meta architecture. It is the first version that provides, let's say, holistic technical information about the project. Before I end this meeting, just for your information, we also plan to participate in this particular event organized by the EU Cloud Edge IoT .eu. This is the support action project that helps all the projects promote their open calls, and this is a particular Energy Info Day sort of webinar. Will take place on the 10th of November. Through this site and through this URL, you can access the site and register for this event. Also, NEMO will participate there. We'll give some highlights of our open call and the topic, and we'll emphasize on the energy-related use case in this event. So it's also a follow-up, nice opportunity to join the discussion and pretty much this was all from my side. At the end of today's session, we'll have some time to answer any questions that you might have, and hopefully we can pass now to Terpsi Velivasaki to have a project presentation to you all. Terpsi, if the problem, okay, excellent.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. I am sorry for the technical issue I had before. Just let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Great. You can see both the camera and, of course, the screen. Yeah. Thank you, Terpsi.
Okay. Thank you. So I will give you a general overview of the NEMO project, starting by the project identity card, present the consortium, our motivation and vision for this project, the work plan in order to bring this into life, and then some details about our technologies, and finally the validation activities planned in the project. Regarding our identity, NEMO is entitled Next Generation Med Operating System. It is funded by research and innovation as a research and innovation action. And what is also of interest for the call today, the webinar today, it plans to release 1.8 million euros as a cascaded funding for third parties that will join through the open calls. This is our consortium, quite a big consortium with very good representation from industry across Europe. We have several companies large from the large industry side, also representation from telecom operators and SMEs, the backbone of European economy. We have reputable research institutes and also living labs. And last but not least, we have also Eclipse Foundation on board in order to promote our open source activities in their ecosystems. Our motivation starts by the landscape around the fast-growing Internet of Things. We have a multitude of new applications for the IoT domain that are meant to be seamlessly integrated to the cloud and the edge devices. At the same time, there is a very huge interest for bringing intelligence to any of these devices, but the burden here is that on one hand, there is insufficient support for seamless communication from edge to cloud, and this to take place in a real-time, secure and trusted manner. And at the same time, there are, of course, several efforts around bringing intelligence closer to the end user, but this has not been yet realized fully across the continuum. So our vision is to actually address these shortcomings in this next generation IoT and Internet domain by using on-device intelligence to enable artificial intelligence of things, having different types of devices interacting in a self-aware and semi-autonomous manner, to realize a transparent continuum from IoT to edge to cloud, bring intent-based dev tools and plugin mechanisms in order to be able to build on this type of ecosystem and infrastructure, to realize an open and modular meta operating system as the one developed in NEMO, and also on top of this be able to support a massive quantity of AIoT applications and achieve a high penetration of those in the MetaOS. Our functional stack vision in order to achieve this is quite ambitious, I would say, yet feasible though. We have a vision for a full stack architecture starting from the lower part infrastructural part with network management solutions and then several orchestration software modules building our core, and on top of this several entry points, contributions as entry points and applications on top of that. Also, you can see at the left several cross-cutting functions referring to cybersecurity, machine learning, and privacy concerns addressed across all this ecosystem. Now coming from the vision to the concrete NEMO meta architecture, we have interpreted this in a number of views. You can find them on our deliverables, so that we can see how this vision can be realized at the network, the user, the development, the operational side through scenarios, the logical side, functional side, and in the end, the interaction through the process view and the deployment in a physical setup. The work is organized in order to achieve this visionary developments is organized in 7 work packages. The first one deals with the technical specification of the MetaOS and the meta architecture. We have already released 2 deliverables where you can find the specifications for the NEMO MetaOS requirements and also another one for the meta architecture. The technology development and integration takes place in work packages 2, 3, and 4. Validation in living labs in work package 5, and then we have the impact creation, dissemination, communication, and exploitation activities in work package 6. And last but not least, the management activities for the project and the open calls in work package 7. A closer look now at the NEMO technologies. We start by the infrastructure management, functional block in the meta architecture. This is materialized through a meta network cluster controller. Its main principle builds upon intent-based networking and the creation of microslices, support for multipath communication, and service migration across those slices. We also foresee time-sensitive networking for extending 5G coverage and bringing it to private setups in, for example, industrial deployments, and also integration with virtual infrastructure management solutions like Kubernetes and MANO from HCOSM. The core part of our development is within the NEMO kernel. This includes the meta orchestrator, the intent-based migration controller, the cybersecure microservices digital twin, and also a secure execution environment for the NEMO workloads. Core principles in the meta orchestration are, of course, the support of intent-based networking, and it acts as a central orchestration of distributed workloads, making intelligent decisions for allocating those and managing those in an optimal manner across the continuum. Also interoperability and sustainability leverages on state-of-the-art open source tools. Actually builds upon open source projects on the cloud native computing foundation. The intent-based migration controller is actually the software counterparts that apply the decisions of the meta orchestrator. So it executes the workload actions and it is also aligned to intent-based networking. The cybersecure microservice digital twin is an extension of the digital twin concept into the microservices world. So we follow here an approach for tracking microservices and accompanying them across their whole life cycle within the NEMO Meta OS. And it supports enhanced cybersecurity features integrated with distributed ledgers. The secure execution environment supports both a unikernel and trusted execution environment runtime, and also builds a migration extension on top of Kubernetes. The NEMO service management layer includes the plugins and applications lifecycle manager. This is a component for unifying handling of all the workloads, whether they are service, microservice, application, or plugins. It supports monitoring for critical services events and also security of services hosted in NEMO. The monetization and consensus-based accountability component caters for secure resource allocation transactions. It is also integrated with DLTs for smart contracts in order to ensure secure and immutable transactions between the NEMO partners, external parties aiming to use the NEMO resources and or offer resources to NEMO, and the NEMO administrators. And last but not least, we offer an intent-based SDK and an API that exposes the NEMO services to the outside world through a common entry point. It is meant to be open and developers friendly and also aligned to the intent-based principle. As cross-cutting functions, we have three. The first one is federated MLOps, aiming to support machine learning development, deployment, and model sharing and service in the continuum. Here we investigate and support a set of advanced learning technologies like federated and ghost learning, reinforcement learning, special enhancements foreseen for cybersecurity and privacy preservation, based partly on generative adversarial networks, and also attack detection and mitigation for these distributed learning systems. The second cross-cutting function relates to the NEMO present policy enforcement framework. Here we aim to address privacy, security protection, data protection, ethics, societal, science and societal concerns. This is done through SLA management support and based on monitoring at the node and service level. Of course, all the NEMO Meta OS is is ensured that is going to be cyber secure, and to that we offer end-to-end support for the identity management and access control based on the zero trust principles for privileged access control, and also encrypted intercommunication security through secure message bus. The NEMO validation activities include validation in 5 living labs and also 1 IoT lab. This is done across several domains, including smart farming, smart energy mobility, smart industry, and also smart media and smart city, and 2 laboratories for IoT and IoT and 5G testing. This is done through cases within NEMO, and we hope to extend those with additional 10 use cases that will come in the project through the second open call. The first trial refers to the one lab facilities, which acts as integration infrastructure of the whole NEMO ecosystem. The second trial, which refers to smart farming, here we are going to validate NEMO through 2 use cases. The first one is aerial precision biospraying, and the second one terrestrial precision biospraying. Here we experiment with machine learning based operations running on autonomous drones and autonomous mobile robots in order to ensure that high crop quality and quantity and minimize losses from disease prediction. And also we aim to do this by intelligent and flexible managing of the involved services and microservices across IoT, cloud, and edge nodes, as you can see here. The second living lab, trial 3, refers to smart energy and mobility cases. We have one case regarding smart grid flexibility monitoring. Here the aim is to increase smart grid stability and security. And this is done by receiving traffic from smart meters, and power sensors, and applying machine learning operations on those. The second case here refers to smart mobility. Here the focus is on dispatchable EV charging, electric vehicles charging, exploiting renewable energy source availability in a demand response manner. Also here considering the infrastructure and diverse devices in ASM facilities in the city of Terni in Italy. The Smart Manufacturing Living Lab is going to validate 2 use cases. The first one refers to automated indoor logistics supply chain, and the aim here is to achieve a fully automated bin picking process from the auto store to the production line. And the second case here refers to human workers' safety in an industrial indoor environment. Here we validate both localization techniques with time-sensitive networking in order to ensure that workers can work in their factory while not having any risk posed by autonomous vehicles that move autonomously in the same area. The next trial is the Smart Media and Smart City Living Lab. Here we have two use cases. The first is refers to the round of Athens. Here, the emphasis is put on real-time user-generated content during the round of Athens. And considering the validation of federated learning techniques running on IoT nodes like smartphones, and aiming also to broadcast the content captured from the round of Athens to such devices. The next use case is the XR time machine. This is validated with two sub-use cases referring to AR and VR validation in the Hellenic Foundation facilities in Athens, Greece. And last but not least, we have a trial referring to the Federation of Living Labs, which includes the 4 living labs and the one lab from Sorbonne University. Here, the aim is for cross-platform seamless access to a wide set of diverse devices, and experimentation in this geographical diversity for the NEMO enhancements and innovations. We aim to further expand those geographical points with open calls, and this is something to be further seen with the projects that will come in. So this was from my side. Thank you all for your attention. And once again, apologies for the technical issue at the beginning.
Thank you, Terpsy, for your presentation. I think now all the participants here and also the future applicants that might be interested in NEMO open calls and will have the opportunity to see even in the future, let's say, time this discussion that we had here, we have a complete picture both about the project itself and the technical innovations that we aim to bring, and also the topic of the first open call per se. So now we can start our questions and answers, let's say, session. We have approximately 50 minutes for anyone interested to ask to get some feedback, let's say, on his idea, or ask any question that we didn't cover during our presentation. So if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand and. Maybe we won't have many questions. Okay, Panagiotis, let me see, Kapsalis, of course.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi,
Thanks.
Terpsy. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, I cannot hear you well. Probably something wrong with my connection. So I would like to ask about the trial use cases data. If we will be able to have access to this data, of course, upon success. I mean, projects that will be awarded, do they will have, let's say, access to trials data to verify their scenarios and their developings?
Okay, first of all, thanks for joining us and for the question. The scope of the open call is to attract projects that will validate additional extensions developed in this project in the NEMO Living Lab. So in that context, you should collaborate and coordinate with the Living Lab owners and see what kind of data or infrastructures will be needed for your validation. So the first quick answer is yes. Of course, this depends on the type of data that you will need. So you have to coordinate and agree upon this with the living lab owner.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other question, maybe, or some thoughts that you'd like to share with us since we are here now? Of course, as a reminder to all the participants through our relevant page in F6S platform, you might have the opportunity, of course, to ask even offline questions while you compile your proposal and get some answers and some clarifications. Okay. Given the time, Trepsi, let me share my screen if it's okay, since we have some time just to give some additional information then about the open call. Okay, so.
Yeah, to be honest, I have the technical issue. Even right now, I cannot stop sharing, so please feel free to stop my sharing.
Yeah, it's okay. I think that you can see my screen, right? The rest of the participants.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So what I'm showing to you here is the document that is uploaded in our repository, in our website, and that is called, it's the annex number 2, that is the guidelines for applicants. So this is, I would say, the main document that includes a lot of information about the project itself and also about eligibility criteria and other additional information that you will be needed in order to compile, let's say, your proposal. So it's a good thing for the ones that are interested to give a thorough look on it, especially on the eligibility criteria part, because there are, of course, some nuances or some particular details that you have to take into account and worth taking a look beforehand on that, so that we can avoid any unfortunate situation where you have finalized your proposal and then it gets rejected due to eligibility issues. So once again, here we have some information on some technical details about the project and on the trials. We have information about the open call phases and funding scene. Most of them have been already presented to you.
Dimitris, this
Yes.
is Harry. Can you go a bit further where you have this table with the technologies and the trials? I think we can complement on the answering the question of yes, there. There you can see the different architectures of NEMO and how we plan to validate them under the different trial sites. So if I am to elaborate a bit on the answering the question of our colleagues, in that you can, in a way, based on where you plan probably to work, then you can have a first mapping of the relevant trials. And this could be your first point of contact. So, for example, we see that the IoT 5G time-sensitive network is not to be, at this point at least, is not going to be considered in trial 1 and 2 and 5. So, but it's going to be considered in trial 3 and 4 and 6. So, in that respect, if someone is to submit and be successful for such a project, he's going to contact trial 3, 4, and 6. Okay.
Yes,
Thanks.
definitely.
We might continue.
Thank you, Harry. Harris Haragosianis is our technical manager. Thank you for intervention. Indeed, it's good for you to structure your proposal, let's say, and your ideas tailored for a particular set of pilots where will be validated at the end. So it's quite important to know which components participate in which trials in your concept. Very nice. So we have additional information, as I said before, about the funding, and we have a table where each review phase will take place, and after a successful completion of each sub-phase, the additional funding will be awarded to the participants. So this is quite important to know beforehand about the funding of the ideas. And there is a complete section here, some general information. As we say, the F6S platform will be the main entry point for submitting your proposals, and it is only that we will accept. And some information about the original funds, okay. And then quite an important section, section 3, that concerns the proposal eligibility criteria that I have presented before. So what an SME, let's say, is considered to be for us. So this is some criteria that should be met about the working unit, let's say, number and the turnovers, etc. And regarding the location, the SME should be established in one of EU member states or a Horizon associated country. It points to the UK, so it's also acceptable, just for you to be aware. And also there are more details here that I won't go through now, but you can, of course, review it before while compiling your proposal. Additional proposal eligibility criteria. So again, the scope of our first open call is quite important. As we talk again, once maybe I repeat on that part because it is quite important. So we plan to have extensions on NEMO meta architecture, software-wise extensions and plugins in the form of plugins that are not covered by NEMO implementation plan. So this is why it is important for you to read in more detail the deliverable 2.1 that is uploaded in our repository and describes the general high-level architecture, and get an idea of what is built in the project, and propose some, let's say, supporting units or some sort of extensions, either in terms of IoT devices or software components, so that we won't have overlaps. It is quite important. Yeah, it's also mandatory for each applicant to submit one proposal per NEMO open call, and especially within the first NEMO open call. So please don't try to apply more than once, because you will be disqualified for that reason. Yeah, pretty much this is it. And also we have here this selection submission process that will be followed. So of course, in the beginning, we will check if the proposal is eligible. If it is eligible, then we will be ranked by the experts, external experts assigned for this work. If it's below the top 10, let's say, part will be rejected. But if it's contained in the top 10 proposals, then if it's then further in the top 6 part will be awarded the NEMO contract for participating in the project. If not, will be placed on a reserved list. So if any issue arises or some project back off, then we can use the top ranked project from the reserved list. And again, all the publications, all the documentation that is needed is uploaded in our website. You can have a thorough look on this material needed for compiling your proposal, or the templates that you can use to compile this proposal, and also take a look on the frequently asked questions. Maybe some of your concerns could be answered here. If not, you can reach us, as I said before, in our blog within the F6S platform in our particular NEMO website. With that, I think we can conclude our today's meeting. Once again, I might ask the partners if you have any question relevant to your idea or any clarification that you might would like us to provide. If not,
Dimitri, sorry.
Yes.
One last remark. Because it could, of course, be the case that some applications have not been started as of now. But while the proposal editing is in progress, several questions may arise. So we would welcome any questions that could arise while the preparation of your proposals. And we encourage you to post those in the F6S discussion for this open call, so that other participants, other candidates that could have similar questions can also find their answers there. Okay, other than that, once again, I would like to say that NEMO seems to be quite ambitious, but there is a clear and feasible plan for delivering the said innovations, and we would be really happy to have additional contributions for the open call project. So if there are any questions, please do not hesitate to post them in the discussion and F6S.
Thank you, Terpsy. And as Terpsy said, because the preparation of the proposal to be submitted for the open calls might take time, please consider starting a lot earlier. The deadline for submitting your proposal, once again, is on the 30th of November, at the end of November. Yeah, the portal will close on 5 CET Brussels time. So please consider, don't let your application up until last minute. As Terpsy said, you might have questions or issues, so please be proactive about that. From my side also, thank you for joining today's webinar. Thank you everybody for your participation, and we will, as Terpsy said, we will be glad to see you being part of the NEMO project in the following period. Thanks.